Now, our speaker today is the Joint Managing Director of AKP Foundries, a major global supplier of castings to the construction equipment, power, commercial vehicles, valves, and other segments in India. An ambitious and dynamic entrepreneur, he went through his own highs and lows in his quest to find his sweet spot. His story is that of a series of bold decisions and the absolute resolve to stand by them. Let's put our hands together virtually, okay, right in the chat box, clap, 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 as we welcome Mr. Parag Bhandare. Over to you, Parag.
Yeah, thanks, Craig, for the lovely introduction, and all the audience out here for giving this opportunity. So let me just quickly take you through my journey. I'm just gonna please share the screen out here. Okay, I hope it's visible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, very good evening to you all. So what I'm gonna just cover in this today's talk is my entrepreneurial journey for the last 20 years. The biggest challenges I went through and how I overcome those challenges. Then also I was in the US for my higher studies, and I also have a work experience of working there for 4 years. So was it a good decision to come back and handle my family business? So that is also one question which I would like to answer at the end of this session. And also I would like to take you through my couple of biggest learnings in this 20 years of my career. So quickly introduce the management. My father, Mr. Ram Bhandare, he is our group chairman of AKP. My brother Gautam and myself, we are the executive directors of the whole group. So giving a brief background, I did my bachelor's in engineering in industrial and also my master's in industrial engineering from the US. I have a 4 years of work experience over there post my education from 99 to 2003. And I had a great job, well-paying job. I had the best of everything, all the luxuries, a Ford Mustang convertible car too, if anyone is into cars. But yeah, but I had a good life out there. Then one fine day in 2003, I decided to come back to India and handle my family business. So was it the right decision? I'll let you know at the end of the session as we go through my whole journey. So as I said, I came back to India and I was on the hot seat in the year 2003. And the first thing I did was I analyzed the whole situation of the company. I went through the last 10 years of sales, the balance sheets and the financials and everything. So what I observed, the first problem what we had was we had only doubled our turnover in the last 10 years. So looking at this thing, the growth, what was happening, the growth was only because of the market conditions. It was not because of any strategies which were set in our own company. So if you look at it, we were at say around roughly hardly 20 crores in turnover in the year 2003. So we went from 10 to 20 in the last from the last 1992 to 2003. So the first thing what we did is like, are we going to be growing at this scale? And because we already hit the plateau, I would say going forward. So we had to really go back to our drawing board and try to analyze what were the problems or challenges we had at that point of time. So one thing, the major first and foremost challenge was we are only dependent on two customers, and 75% of the revenue was coming from these two customers. Only 2% of export business. We were working with a huge variety of components, which was taking, and also there was no growth we were seeing in going forward. We were very low on the profits. And lack of focus in the team because of the firefighting which was going on. We were handling almost 1,000 plus different components at that point of time. So after doing that, we said that we had to do something about this situation. The first thing I did was we consolidated the clients and tried to reduce the number of products. The major focus was given on the export business. We set up an export team, a dedicated export manager in place, and also I was heading that complete operations of increasing the export business for the company. So we did meet all our clients one to one. We used to meet the whole team. We built a good rapport with most of our buyers. And to grow, you need to build the capacity also. So we doubled our production capacity in 2003. And to get exposure to the export business, we did participate in a lot of trade fairs all around the globe. But we did good for the first 3 years, 2003 to 6. But again, we hit the plateau in 2006 because we had used up all our production capacity. So at this point, the biggest challenge was, do we continue doing this for the next 20 years or do something new? So the point had come that we put our heads together in the management group, and then we decided this is like, there was no space for expansion. Market conditions were not favorable. So 2007 would be a very critical year in our expansion phase, I would say, and decision making. And over and above, my brother, who was also studying in the US at that point of time, he was to come back in the next 2 years, in say around somewhere around 2007 8. So we there was too much of management. My dad, me, and my brother sitting in one small company and trying to manage and step on each other would not be right. So we thought that we let us go all out and start and form a bigger company where we can split our roles and grow exponentially. So that was the plan going ahead. So we thought that let's start a new plant. So how that plant would be, and at that point of time, should we risk everything because we were planning to grow 4 times of what we were in 2003 to 7. So the project was 4 times larger than my existing company, which was AKP Foundries. The area what we bought was almost 12 times the size. The project cost was 25 times our cash credit limits at that point of time. And also raising funds was a huge challenge. So we could only do that with our legacy, what we had for the last 42 years. Since we started our first parent unit in 1978 by my dad, who's a BE metallurgist. So at this point, we did take that bold step ahead and we went ahead with this plant. And it was commissioned in the year 2010. So once we start, we again have a lot of challenges. The whole vision of starting this plant was we should have a world-class infrastructure. It should be one of the best in the country. Also, we should have a unique business model since we are taking such a big risk and putting all our family money into it. So we should have something, a unique business proposition which will take us in the top 2 or 3%. And also the major thing which my dad or we all as a management thought was it should not look like a typical foundry or a manufacturing setup. You should get a resort feel once you enter the gates of AKP. And whenever a client comes in, he should go with a good smile and confidence in mind and with the purchase order. That's for sure. So these are a couple of pictures what I'm trying to show you. This is the top view of our corporate office. You can see there's a lot of 3 to 4 acres of landscaping in here. So this whole plant, the new plant we set up was in almost 10 acres of land. So we have a machine shop and the cafeteria, the corporate house, the machine, the foundry, the assembly building. So this is again a top view of the whole plant, what you can have a look at. So various departments are mentioned out here. So as we commissioned our plant in 2010, the next issue was to get new business. So we had to go against the big conglomerates like Birla or Nico or etc., or which are like the biggest foundries in India. And they had almost been running the business for last 30, 40 years. So we decided that we will be entering the construction equipment segment. So it was a totally new segment for us. We were at 0% of the Indian market in 2010. That's when we got started. So we approached all these prospective clients, and we pitched in saying that we are introducing this in a full in the shortest turnaround time. We have automated plant. We will be very high on the value addition, and the quality and delivery is definitely given. So considering all these positive points, we did get started getting a few orders from all the bigger giants in globally as well as within India. And as you know, as we grow faster in the initial 2 or 3 years, the financial cash flow is a big challenge. So we changed bank to bank almost 4 times in the first 5 years. So this happened from 2010 to 2015. It was a big cash flow issues what we had because we were growing rapidly, but at the end we were not also very short of cash. So these are the challenges we went through. And finally, we met a person called Mr. Anil Thomas in 2015, where he was introduced by my father. And we went through this, a group of almost 35 business owners in Belgaum. We went through this mastermind program. And then looking at the energy and zeal of Anil sir, we always, what we see, we went through a lot of detailed program. It was spread out through almost 6 to 8 months. And we learned various concepts. My complete perspective of looking at things changed both personally and professionally. Uh, we learned things like area of control, the various paradigm shifts, innovation, marketing concepts, the status of the mind, conscious, subconscious, and how the three ways of growing your business, which is called the multiplying the framework. So these with these things, we started thinking about it, how we can go back and try to reframe and re-strategize our whole business. So this happened in 2015, and as I still say that I would have taken this course maybe in the early 2000s, so we could have been at a different phase by now. So I would say better not late than going through it. So anyways, so with all these things, we hit the 100 crore mark in the year 2017 after going through this, trying to re-strategize and shuffling our teams a little bit and trying to venturing into different segments. We ventured into two new segments then. And as I say, at this point, as in 2010, when we commissioned the plant, we were at 0% of the construction equipment segment. We went to 72% of the Indian market in 2019. So this was a big achievement for our company. And if you look at any yellow machine or mining or construction equipment on the road, there is a 72% chance that it's from AKP. And almost we are single source to 99% of the construction equipment manufacturers in the country. So that's the status of this business today. So coming to the exports, at this point we are almost we went from 2% to 30%, exporting to almost 16 plus countries globally. So as I said, this is a kind of another important slide I would like you to go through. I mean, we were having hardly 4 to 5 clients, like multinational clients in the year from 1992 to 2003. Then I took over. Then we was just, as I said, we were only dependent on two clients for 75% of the business. So what I did was we segregated that into 6 different segments. And the aim was to work with the top 5 global players in each of these segments. So as you can see, I think you might be knowing most of them like Caterpillar, JCB, Volvo. I mean, these are all the big giants globally. So today we supply to their domestic as well as global plants all around the globe. So with this, we have de-risked our business. The major thing is, I would say, business should be almost hitting above 90 or 95% every month of the year. So balancing throughout the year is extremely important. Business is not seasonal. That's what I would like to highlight here. And everything what we have been doing in so far, every 3 or 4 years, we are trying to venture into two new segments so as to balance out the risk in the market, and we also can reduce the dependency on the existing customers. So what happened in 2019 is our time was to again double our capacity. We increased our capacity by twice almost. Our target markets for that line were heavy commercial vehicles as well as agriculture. And from the product segment, we wanted to enter into the axles. So the rear axles for the trucks or for the tractors, for example, any bigger vehicles you can see on the road, the axles should be manufactured or be procured from AKP. That's my target going forward for the next 2 years. So today we are at only 5% of the market. We are heading for 40% in the next 2 years. So also I will be giving a complete solution to my customers, and always we believe in dominating the market. So as we are 72% of the construction industry, in the next 2 or 3 years, we should be 70 or 75% of the axle market too. So that's the target going ahead, and we are already bagging orders every month from existing clients as well as the new ones. So why should my clients come to me? That's again a question. We are like portraying as like the Walmart of the manufacturing industry or the foundry, one-stop solution to all your casting needs, right from 5 kilograms to 400. So it's a pretty big chunk of weight range. 30 plus global clients, 42 years of experience in the foundry. Plus, innovation is always at the core of our team. We are continuously innovating new things to make sure that we produce the products at the cheapest cost and provide the best service to our clients. So as I said, mentioned two of my new segments we are entering is the heavy commercial vehicles as well as agriculture. So these are some of the products we have developed in the past 6-8 months or 1 year, you can say. And also one more, also I would say feather in the cap of AKP would be we were among the top 150 fastest growing companies in India, and we were rated. This was rated by the Economic Times in the year 2020. That was last year, and it was audited by Statista, which is a company from Germany. So that was a big booster to all our morale, and the whole team was happy. And again, we had to go back and to the drawing boards and try to make sure that we are heading in the right direction. So coming to the decision of coming back to India, was it the right decision I made in the year 2003? So I would like to say it was a big yes, a definite yes. Next 5 to 10 years are looking promising for the business with the current government and the kind of segments that we are targeting. I'm sure that we will be multiplying and growing multifold going forward, and we'll be having a great time with business. We would be enjoying what we're doing, and I'm sure that with the exports at 30%, maximum we can go up to 40. Is that's what our business plan is looking like, and make use of the tailwinds what we have today. So that's what's going to be happening from 2021 to 30, and we already have our business plan ready for that. So this is one important slide I would like to highlight here. Any business, if you look at their history of say 30, 40 years, or you may be a 20-year-old company, you might have taken some decisions at any given time, maybe every 3 years or 5 years. So these are the highlighting points for me. In 1989, we were the first foundry in the southern part of India to develop ductile iron castings. That was a big game changer for us. In 2003, we doubled our capacity and also consolidated the products as well as clientele, which brought in more focus and growth. 2007, we imbibed the idea of starting a new plant, which is AKP Ferrocast. In 2017, we were the market leaders for construction equipment. And then we already had plans to enter two new segments. In 2021, that is this year, we are targeting the Excel segment. So I would say these triggers we need to have in business to make sure that you are in the game. There's no point in being in the bottom 10% of any business. If you are in the bottom 10%, you'll be crushed by your competitors in no time. So it's always to be ahead, be in the top 1 or 2%, and have a bigger chunk of the market. So the key takeaways, what I would like to say is have a market dominance in whatever business you do. You have to pivot every 3 to 5 years based on the market conditions. And there is no 5 year or 10 year plan. It is every plan has to be dynamic, and you have to keep going back and looking at it and make sure that you make those right changes. Balancing the business throughout the year, quarter on quarter, is very important. And always try to add value on your existing products, which will give you a multiple growth in sales going forward. So that's my final slide. Thanks for the opportunity, everyone, and the lovely audience. Thanks, Anil and Deepa Thomas. Thanks, Craig, for introducing me. It's been, and I would like to say that definitely Mustard Seed has been an accelerator in our growth story. We wish you all an exciting future. Thank you very much.
Wow, let's give Parag a big round of applause. That was simply inspiring, fascinating. You have seen people were responding in the chat box as you were sharing your story. Truly amazing. Really is fantastic. Thank you for sharing
Thank
that
you.
story with us. It means a lot. If there's anyone who has a question, probably we have time just for one or two questions, so you could raise your hand and I can come to you. In the meantime, I have a question for Parag. You are someone who's taken some big risks as an entrepreneur. How do you usually assess the situation before you decide to take that decision?
Well, it's all about taking the right decisions at the right time, and growth doesn't come without taking big risks. So what we do is my natural, my nature is to take big risks. That's how I am. So definitely, my brother is right opposite the way I am. So we are standing right opposite to each other, but we complement each other pretty well. And also, I have my dynamic dad who's supporting us every time. So
Great.
definitely, we sit together, we take a challenge. We
Mhm.
are ensuring that there is a good business for the next 3 to 5 years, and we
Okay.
take that decision and we go ahead. So that's how it
Thank,
works generally.
thank you so much, Parag. Thank you. There's Rupan has raised his hand, so I'm going to request Rupan if you can unmute your mic and ask your question.
So Parag, obviously you thought of all your decisions and your strategy was great. Can you throw a little light on the execution at each stage? What were the key takeaways or what were the key inputs that you gave in the execution of your plan?
Yeah, I mean, as it's a very good question, I would say. I mean, one thing what we did is considering the execution is always the growth cycle. When you look at it, starts from zero, then you hit the 100% mark or the plateau or whatever we can say in next year or two. So generally, we divide in 3 to 4 different teams. We have a marketing people who are always on the field. We always book our capacity more than 100%. It should be at least 120 to 125%, so that it's taking care of your business. And considering the when you say execution, I mean I'm taking it all the way, running the business as well as setting up the plant. So setting up the plant, we had completely taken care of. There was a kind of a plant manager. We had an execution plan on Microsoft project. Everything was monitored on a week-to-week basis. So definitely, with say 5 or 7 people under me, we were reviewing it very closely, and we ensured the plant started on time. And the growth story also, what I was saying is like every year or two we used to mix and match, if choose the best products which make good money in terms of profit. So I mean overall, this is how we used to kind of execute, and we have various departments are taking care and they know their responsibilities. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We'll have one more question. Manish, you've raised your hand. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Parag. It was really mesmerizing and very inspiring.
Thank you.
I'm sure, like me, many others are also charged up right now. I have a very interesting. I had a very interesting take from what you said. Your end use market is very seasonal in nature, and it sees its ups and downs. But you mentioned that you could somehow keep the business uniform throughout the year.
Yeah.
So, can you please throw some insights into that? How did you manage to do that?
Yeah, I mean, when we got started with our this new plant and business, we were in the construction and equipment segment, as I said. So their business used to be good from say August or September all the way through March. But from April to say, I mean, end of July, in the rainy season, the business could come down by almost 80%. So this was really killing us in the initial 1 or 2 years, right? So what we did is we just put our heads together and see, I mean, what was booming in this rainy season? So it was agriculture, or it was like the power segment. So we made sure that we tap these particular customers who are balancing my highs and lows and the seasonal business. So that's how we went into the agri segment, and we hit the ground running, and we made sure that we are also capitalizing on all the major products for the agriculture segment. So today we have almost 5 to 7 clients in the agri segment who are taking care of or balancing the business from say April, May all the way through July, and but they again go down after the rains because the sowing season and everything is over. So that's when the construction equipment picks up. So that's how we got to balance out and in all these things, and not depend on these two segments, but add a 3 or 4 more. So as to throughout the year, your people should be busy, you should be busy. In the end, the business should be growing. Yeah.
Well answered. Well answer.
That's
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
I wish more and more manufacturers could listen to what you are doing. Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anil. And
Thank you.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Parag,
Thank you.
for sharing that story once again and beautifully answering the Q&A session. Thank you.